So I've got a building and I want to secure it. What's the best way to go about doing it?
Best way to go about doing that is to post a guard at every entrance. Give the guard a list. Say, here are the people that are authorized to enter the building. Anybody wants to enter the building, they get checked against the list. Anybody who's on the list goes into the building. Anybody who's not on the list stays outside.
Yeah, but that's got to be an expensive way to do that. There's got to be something better.
Yeah, so if you got a big building, lots of doors, obviously you can't put a guard on every single door. So what you want to do is you want to put a mechanical lock on every door. Okay, you know what a mechanical lock is, right? Mechanical lock is a shape checker. You take these pieces of metal, call them keys. The keys are shaped in a very specific way. If you have a key that's the right shape, the lock will turn. And if your key is not exactly the right shape, lock won't turn. So the key is a credential.
Okay.
Credential is a thing that proves you're an authorized user. If you possess the key, you can activate the lock. And if you can activate the lock, you can let yourself into the building. If you don't possess the right credential, it won't let you into the building.
Okay, but there's got to be drawbacks to that. I mean, can't anybody just go make a copy of the key?
So there's drawbacks to mechanical locks, mechanical keys, and obviously the biggest one is that the credential can very easily be copied. You can go to a drugstore or a supermarket. There are kiosks that'll automatically just make a copy of your key. But there are also a bunch of other drawbacks. For starters, it doesn't keep a log of who used the key when. So there's no way for the lock to tell you later who used the lock. So you could enter the building after hours if you wanted to. You can enter the building on your day off when nobody's there, and you could lend the key out to somebody who's not authorized. You'll never know.
So no true accountability with it.
There's no true accountability. Also, if you have a big building and you have lots of different rooms with different levels of security, and some people can go into some rooms, some people can go into other rooms, it is possible to make a system of locks and hand out a key that only works on certain locks. So you can have lots of locks, and you can hand out a bunch of different keys. And some people have locks that only work on one door, and some people have keys that only work on one door. Some people have a key that work on a couple of different doors, and some people will have keys that works on lots and lots of doors. But very expensive, very hard to keep track of all those keys. If anybody loses a key, you're in big trouble. You gotta rekey all the doors. And the biggest one is that you can't deauthorize a credential once it's been issued. You give somebody a key, that key will always work unless you change the lock. So if you want to fire somebody, or somebody quits or leaves or gets transferred to a different department, you have to go to them, you have to get their key back, and you didn't have to just kind of hope that they never copied it, that they never lent it, that they never had it stolen. Maybe somebody stole it, copied it, put it back before they found out about it. What do you do?
Yeah, that seems like it could be a real hassle. There's got to be a better way to deal with it than a piece of metal every time.
So what we do is electronic access control. Electronic access control is basically intelligent credentials, intelligent locks. So there's a couple different types of credentials. The most common type of credential is a contactless credential, and the most common type of contactless credential is a smart card. So you take a piece of plastic which is already in the size and shape of a thing that most adults already have, which is a credit card. So if you've got a purse, you've got a wallet, it already has a slot that is the perfect size and shape for your smart card. Smart cards can also be printed on, so you can have a picture of somebody, you can have their name, you can have their department, so you can use the smart card as an ID badge as well.
Okay.
Then you have a key fob, little plastic thing that has the electronics inside. You can put this on your key ring next to your car remote. We see key fobs being used on sites where you're going to be using gloves, where you're outdoors, where you're in a harsh environment.
Okay.
We also have stickers We have a credential that's an actual sticker with the RF electronics in the sticker.
Okay.
You'll usually see that on an asset, like a two-way radio or a vehicle or something that stays on site while the user comes and goes.
Okay.
Next category of credential is a mobile credential. So everybody already has a phone. Most people are very attached to their phones. Most people are much more conscious of where their phones are than where their ID card is. So all you do is you have your access control system send a credential to somebody's phone. So you send them with a SMS or with email and send a credential to their phone, and now their phone becomes their credential. They can use their phone, they can wave their phone in front of the reader. So that's good for distributed workforce. So if you have people that are remote most of the time and just have to come on site sometimes, a mobile credential is great for that.
Okay, so I mean, literally, I could just take my phone that I have on me all the time and get into the building I need to?
So it has to be a relatively mid-range phone. It has to be a relatively new phone.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of mobile credentials won't work with older phones or won't work with very low-end phones, and this problem is becoming less and less as time goes on, but this problem will always be with us.
Okay.
And then there's biometric credentials. So biometric credentials is where you actually use a body part as a credential. So it can be a fingerprint, it could be the pattern of veins in your hand, it can be an iris or a retina, it can be even the shape of your face. So these tend to be more expensive, the readers tend to be expensive, the readers tend to be slower, the readers tend to have a higher rate of false negatives than any other form of credential. Typically, we would use these credentials on sites where security is more important than convenience, and sites where you have a very high threat level, and you need to make sure that the person that holds the credential is actually the same as the person that was issued the credential.
So just like all the sci-fi movies that, they show up and put their thumb on the thing and that lets them in, it just takes a little bit longer, but it's a lot more secure, it sounds like.
Exactly, just like all the sci-fi movies, except it's real.
Okay, so y'all go through everything from a little fob or a card to literally like sci-fi movie stuff. Okay, so obviously people are going to have questions about trying to put the system in and getting it together. So they can always contact you, right? There's no issue to call on.
Just send us an email at support@midchess.com.
And y'all don't have any issue doing like a survey of the site or design build out for them?
Absolutely, love doing site surveys.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks.